This week on the Kenn Blanchard Show, a conversation with my good friend, Terrance Jackson, of the spiritual clothing brand AG Faith and AG365, a man after the things of God. On friending, on social media, the culture, what's wrong with us, respect, black community, a humble guy, on making mistakes. About his tagline, following Christ, personal goals, the beginning, and more, coming up next. You're in the right place. Welcome to the Kenn Blanchard Show, helping you, encouraging you, and making you smile with wisdom, interviews, and stuff to help you survive another week. I know you've told this story 1,000 times, but what's the story behind AG Faith and your brand?
Right. So, yeah, man, I have, man, and it's amazing. Every single time I talk about it, especially when I just look back on how fast time flies. But
how long has it been?
Since 2013. So you coming up on 8 years.
Wow.
Which is nuts, man.
What's happened in the last 8 years since it began?
Lots of ups and downs, but a lot of the maturation process of it. I mean, God, when it's time for it to be what it needs to be, it will be.
You ain't there yet?
Nah, no.
Take me back. Take me to the story. Take me to the beginning. For the people in the back that ain't heard the story before.
Right. I started AG365, originally Armor and Glory, back in 2013. I started it because of my son. At the time, Jake was a little young pup, man, and his mom needed me to get some T-shirts and some shorts for him. Well, I wasn't the clothes guy. I was the tennis shoe guy. My mom, her mom, everybody did the shopping for him. So I was excited to do it. Leading up to that, I had started talking and praying to God about how could I be a bigger beacon for his kingdom. I was asking more so my purpose. Like, what is my purpose, God? Like, I need you to show me my purpose. Like, I've been in the security business a very long time, loved it, but just knew that wasn't why I was here. Like, he didn't place me here just for that. My purpose was greater. And so I started asking. So my wife, she asked me. So I was excited. I go out to several different major retail outlets for babies to find some clothes. As I walked into these different stores, the one thing I noticed was half of all the clothes in there at the time for babies, skulls, crossbones, dragons, everything that depicts death, damnation, and destruction. And I was like, wow, like, it really grieved my spirit, Ken. Like, I was like, this is crazy. And so I tell people all the time, 3 things minister to a man's spirit: what he sees, what he hears, and what he puts on his body. Powerful. It grieved my spirit. 2 days later, I'm laying in my bed, sleep, and God woke me up out of my sleep, and the name Armor and Glory was pounding in my head. 2 seconds later, he gave me the slogan: put on God's armor and receive his glory. Wow. How I knew it was God was, in the history of this country, nobody had ever thought to put those 2 words together and start a business ever. Now, it doesn't get any more patriotic than Armor and Glory, if you ask me, right? And so, man, when I finally had the conversation with my wife, because honestly, I sat on it for like a year. Like, after he revealed it to me, I didn't move on it at all. I was like, man, my wife, she's going to think I'm crazy. And I want to start a clothing line. And I've been in the security business all this time. Like, what are you doing? Like, no. And so I sat on it, and I'll tell you, Ken, it was like God haunted me every day. I had no peace, man. I had no peace because that's not what he told me to do. He told me to do this, move on that. And so one night I wake her up out of her sleep in the middle of the night. I'm like, hey, I got to talk to you. Now, you ever woke a woman up out her sleep in the middle of the night talking about you need to talk to her? First thing she going to do is say, what the hell have you done? You know what I'm saying? Like, what have you done? What's going on with you? And so I shared with her what God had put on my heart and my spirit, man. And she told me, she said, I think that's a great idea. And that's all I needed was her reassurance. And so, man, when I got that, then I just hit the ground running, man. And I made our first T-shirt, and I gave it away to a lot of my friends in the entertainment business and in the athletic world. And it started to really take off, man. It went kind of nuts with people loving it. And it went so nuts till, at the time, the second leader retail athletic apparel company decided to come after me and sue me, try to sue me in federal court, which they, we went down that road behind what we had in our pocket in store, man. That let me know that I had something, though, and that God's purpose for what, he was leaning on was purposeful. It was needed. The two biggest mediums in this world is music, number one, and clothing being number two. Powerful because when you put on something, it has the power and the ability to change your mindset, man. Depending on what you wear. If you put on a nice suit, you feel more powerful, more prestigious, more astute. If you're wearing your comfortable sweatpants and hoodie, you know what I'm saying, you're more relaxed, comfortable. Your mind is just in a different zone or mode, man. That's why they tell you in certain places, we need you to come properly dressed, because your mind will be different. You won't have the mindset of, I want to be in here fighting with somebody. You're more so like, I'm dressed too nice to be in here acting a fool with anybody. So, that in itself is power in that. Based on how you dress, people put you in economic and social categories, when honestly, the richest man in the room may be the guy that has on a raggedy pair of jeans, a white T-shirt, and some flip-flops.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that guy in that Armani suit. Like, he may be the brokest, to tell you the truth. So that's just, how it goes. But Acts 19 talks about there's healing in the cloth. There's healing in the cloth, man. And when you put something on your body, and you've prayed over it, and you've offered that up to God, there's healing in that. Just like the lady with the issue of blood, she knew, and she felt in her spirit, she had the faith that if I could just touch the hem of Jesus's garment, I will be fully restored. I will be healed. And Jesus is walking through that crowd, hundreds of people, man, and they're all touching him. Soon as she touched his hem, he stopped. Who is it? Who touched me? Like, who did that? And everybody like, oh, they moving out of the way. They thought they was in trouble. And she's sitting there, And he says, because you believed, because your faith was so great, you are healed. You know what I'm saying? You are healed. And in that, it's like, wow, like, that's powerful. She just knew, if I could touch the hem of his garment, Not him physically, his arm, or he touched me. No, and that was the thing. You wanted somebody like Jesus to put his hands on you. Like if he put his hands on me, oh my God, this woman's faith was so great. She was like, if I could touch the hem of his garment, I know I'd be healed, because that's how great and how mighty and how powerful he is. Hey, enough said, man.
And people don't know. Well, they do know. You got a real funny side. You like keep it light, man, a lot, and that's cool, man. Where'd that come from?
I grew up in a house where my mom, man, she was the funny guy.
Really?
Like, yeah, my mother, man, she's something else. She used to have me and my brothers and sisters and her girlfriend's kids, right? They all would come over. Her and her girlfriends, they would come over. You know, they have a happy hour. And part of the happy hour is we would perform comedy shows and skits for them. And they'd sit back, boy, and get to laughing at us. And the more they laughed, the more we performed. And then, you know, you got prizes, you know, at the end, you know, whoever won or did whatever, like those were the atmospheres in the house. And then, of course, you know, we always rag and joan on each other. It's just part of what we did. And so it's just, you know, I think people should laugh at themselves more. You know, I mean, everything isn't so serious. And I realized that anytime you're in any kind of leadership, you know, whether it's the church or your job, whatever you're leading in, people need to understand or feel that you're relatable. And you need to be able to make somebody smile. You get more out of them when they feel like you're approachable. And I think a lot of times in leadership, most leaders don't give the level of approachability, so they get less out of the people that they lead. You know what I'm saying?
Right, that's good right there.
Yeah. I mean, people need to feel that, you know, you're approachable. They need to feel that, you know, man, you know, this guy is human. Like he has, you know, some funny sides to him. He's relatable. I mean, if you're not relatable, there's no way you can ever lead anything or anybody. They have to feel like that they can relate to you. That's where you're going to get the most out of whoever you're dealing with.
All right. As we close down for the day, well, how can folks reach you? Your websites and all that good stuff, your social media platforms.
So my IG is AG Faith365. Facebook is AG Faith. Our website is agfaith.com. And then my Twitter is liveagfaith365. So yeah.
AG is for Armor and Glory.
Correct. Armor and Glory. So our logo, we took the A from armor and the G from glory, formulated the shield of God. So that's what that is. When you see our logo, that's what that represents, the shield of God. You know, so yeah, man. Ken,
plus you a humble dude.
Yeah, man, it's tough to do that. And what I found for me is it's tough to receive accolades. A lot of times.
That's all right. That's all right.
I mean, you know, everybody wants them, but it's sometimes it's hard to receive them because you just, you know, you know that you're really a work in progress. And so you sit there and you're like, man, I ain't did nothing special, or I'm not anybody special. I'm just out here just trying to do my part, failing every day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you feel good, man. Even when you mess up, you help somebody else out. They be going, man, he just told on himself. I did that and I ain't say nothing. So I mean, type my stuff up. That's cool right there, though.
Yeah.
You think them disciples was proud of all the crap that they got bombed out for? That everybody for 2,000 years know they, like Peter. You think he proud that he ran? That dude was like, he was like a hard dude. He was a fisherman. I mean, he's like, so he's like legendary that he denied Christ 3 times. His stuff is in the papers for life. I mean, it's just.
Yeah. And you think all the work he did, he's remembered the most for that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that's the crazy part. Like, you can be successful 1 billion times, but all it takes is that one.
Yeah.
That's what people hang their hat on. And honestly, I mean, it's terrible, but that's one of the things that would always lead me to say, like, nobody has the authority, right, to persecute anybody here but the Father.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, who are you? Who are you to persecute?
Everybody got some dirt. We just don't know it yet.
Yeah. I mean, and so people that do that, they do that until it's their turn. And when it's their turn, they pray that somebody will extend the right hand of grace to help them. You know what I'm saying? Like, but dog, no, you were just killing these people or that person just 10 minutes ago, but now the tables have turned. And now all of a sudden you're like, oh, woe is me. Like, I'm apologizing. I'm so sorry. I'm like, yeah, man, everybody wants that right hand of grace when their time comes. And so you have to realize that and keep that at the forefront of your mind while you're out there dogging and persecuting others. Because, nobody's exempt from it, man. Not one soul is exempt from it.
I like the thing you said, just a man after the things of God. You like switch that thing around. I was like, oh man, that's good.
Man, I mean, so I'm gonna tell you what's so wild about that, and is this, and I think this is why God, he talks about the thorn in your side, right?
Yeah.
I think this is why he makes sin so accessible. And what I mean by that is, if sin wasn't so accessible and things were always great and we were living and doing the right things on a day in and day out basis, over time, you would forget about who God is and what he is. There would be no need for him. Everything's great in my life. Who do I have to call on to? And who do I have to thank? And who do I have to pay real, true homage to if every day of my life is perfect? When you really think about that, it's like, wow. And you can use the same term and same analogy as being a father. If your kids, every need was always met, everything was taken care of, and they didn't have to have you provide for them or help them, what would be your real, true need or purpose in their life?
Yeah.
Because I'm getting guidance, I'm getting knowledge, I'm being fed for, all my needs are being met. I'm not going through any, adversities or anything like that. What is your real need for them to have you as their father? They don't need you, but it's only when their needs aren't being met, you have to provide for them. They need your wisdom. They need your word. They need your love, your understanding. When they have those needs, then that gives you purpose. You see what I'm saying? If we are out here and we're just living and things are always great in our lives and we have no worries, no issues, what would be your need for God? You wouldn't need him. And so the struggle going through and the mindset, just a man after the things of God, you know what I'm saying? I want to be able to please him in the struggle, because that's what he honors. God appreciates the effort because he knows at the end of the day, we're not going to get it right all the time. We simply aren't. He knows that, he understands that. That's why he appreciates the effort toward it. That's what he's looking for. Are you going to put forth the effort? I know you're not going to get it right. That's why I had to send my son back to die. on the cross, because if I didn't, every last one of you would bust hell wide open. It's the effort that I'm looking for in this struggle.
Right.
And that's the whole deal about, at the end of the day, this is nothing but a big haze to see who's worthy to stand before the Father in glory. It's work. It's work. It's trial by error. That's what this is all about. Who's willing to put in the work, knowing that you're not going to get it right every time, that you're going to fail, that adversity is at your doorstep at any second or any moment, but you still work toward being a vessel, pleasing him, but also building his kingdom along the way by discipling and turning people on to the absolute knowledge, love, and being of who God is, right? And all of that, you continue to do so. That's what he honors. That's what he's looking for. And so, this thing, man, is the most challenging thing that any person could ever do. And that is to decide that they want to be a follower of Christ. There's nothing more challenging than that, because the challenge is you strive and you want to do the right things, and you want to, be pleasing to him, and you want to, think greater than yourself, right? When I'm in the world and I'm just a sinful fool and I'm only catering to the desires of my flesh, well, shoot, that's easy to do. I mean, and that's what's natural to you. That's the natural thing to do. Anything that is done against the grain will always be tough. So loving Christ and being a believer of God is against the grain. When people think that that's the opposite, that is the easy, no, it's not. What's easy is for me to satisfy my flesh and do the things that my body and my mind innately wants to do to self-medicate and comfort me. That's what's natural. And, there's nothing natural about being godly. That is work. That takes spiritual sweat equity. Like, that's tough. That is tough. That is the greatest challenge that any man or woman will ever face. And that is being a believer and lover of Christ.
And because you got a presence already on TikTok and Reels and the other ones. So I'm trying to hit the spot where you ain't at. That's just an audio.
Right. I mean, that my presence ain't really that great. It's there, but
it's there because it goes away. You got to like continually do stuff, and then it comes back around. It's like nobody can like subscribe. It's like, say you say something really profound, like you do sometimes. You say something like really, really cool, which is like, wow, I want to share this. When I go back and look for it, it's like gone. It's like, where that stuff? It's like you get like scrolled over by 1,000 other people. I never see it again. It's like, yeah, that was wasted. It'll come back like 5 years from now when Facebook like decide to put it up there or something.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy. But you're right. Funny, I posted what I posted today this morning about our youth and the fact about, our kids graduating reading on 4th and 5th grade level.
Yep, saw that.
But in my excitement, I had a typo. Just rushing through. But, people, some people was courteous enough to say it was a typo. So I responded back to that. But then you had some that rather than, say, hey, there's a typo, they say, do you see the irony in that? So they made like a joke about it.
Yep.
And I'm thinking to myself, like,
that's how people.
Hey, I'm like, man, listen.
You're losing the point.
You're losing the point. But then also, if we're friends, then, you say, bro, you made a typo. Let's correct that. Not, And that's why we're losing. That's exactly that, right? That point right there is why we're losing. If you and I are friends, right? And I'm talking to you, we're having a conversation in person, and we're in a room full of people. And I know that at any given moment, there's going to be somebody else that's going to walk up to you and spark a conversation with you, or you're going to, be talking to other folks. And I see that you have a bat in your cave, a booger in your nose, but I don't address that. I just kind of snicker at you a little bit, like, this Negro got a booger in his nose. Like,
that's social right there.
And I don't tell you, hey, yo, Ken, you got something in your nose, man. You might want to, get that out and fix it. Now, I'm not a very good friend, man.
That's the difference between what's out there that they call, I'm friending you, but they're not. They just want to be on your list.
Right. That, to me, that's crazy. Like, I can't call myself your friend or say I care about you, or, want any good to come out of what you are, or what you do. And I don't address something that I see is obvious. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I mean, for you to go and walk and talk to 20 other people with a booger in your nose and nobody addresses it. What kind, like, that's bad, man.
Yeah. That's what we're working with, though.
That's bad. And so, but it's all good. I mean, we are, as a culture, man, we are our greatest nemesis, man. Like, to the max. We are literally our greatest nemesis. I mean, it's sad. It's sickening to the core, man, and it's exhausting.
How about this? What have you thought about what makes us different that we have to take care of each other? I mean, does any other culture take care of anybody? Isn't everybody out for themselves?
I think that in every group you have people that are selfish, but I think overall, most cultures, they're a culture. They understand their survival depends on them, their cohesiveness. You know what I'm saying? They understand that. They take pride in that as an overall group. Now, they may quarrel amongst each other, but they don't do it to the rest of the world, for the rest of the world to see. They'll be more of a united front, and have each other's back. Whether they're right or they're wrong, they move together as a unit. And for us, we don't do that. We don't have that same value system, which is really nuts. But it's been something that has been conditioned over history and over time. The only way that's going to change, that behavior is going to change, is if we start to instill real core valuable principles and values into our youth, our babies, where we start to teach them the value of us being cohesive together as a unit, not exploiting and dogging each other in public, man. Because why should anybody else respect us when we don't respect ourselves and we don't defend ourselves? Why would anybody else come to our aid? Why would anybody else, step up to the plate and say, hey, these guys, blah, blah. They're not. They are not. That's why right now, when you look across the board, there are no real representatives for the Black community. You know why? Because, man, we'll string those cats out just as bad as the next somebody will. And so they're like, man, I'm not going to put myself out there to fall to scrutiny and ridicule. These same people I'm trying to defend or help or work for, they're the main ones that will talk the worst about me. And that's terrible. It's terrible. For me, man, I just want people to understand that if, in order for change to really happen, transparency has to be the forefront of it. Like, you have to be transparent, like in who and what you are, and understanding that the real blessing is in telling authentic truth a lot of times. and understanding that your crushing is never for you, but is for the next somebody to bless and help get them through. You know, when we're going through trying moments and times, it seems like the world is against you and you're trying to find out where God is and if he's left you. You know, like, man, all this praying I've done, all this, like, where are you at? And all the while he's doing the Mr. Miyagi on you. Because in that storm, you're building and you're gathering different tools to help make you stronger, even when you don't see it. So when you start to see your way out of this thing, you're better equipped. Now, once you get out of it, you're able to look back. And if you see somebody struggling or even teetering down that same path, or they're needing questions or answers to something similar or anything remotely close, now you're able to go in your tool bag from your hurt, from your disappointment, from your trials and your error, and you're able to say, hey, here's this blueprint. You know, you can take this blueprint and this may help you. You know what I'm saying? And it makes that person's journey a little easier. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just honestly, Ken, I'm really just tired of fabricated, just fabricated way of thinking and people profiting off of nonsense. Like it's so overwhelming, man. Like I posted something the other day about Black people being the greatest economic machine ever created. We're the engine. I'm sorry, we are, but we're afraid to drive. You know, like you got this incredible Lamborghini, you got the keys to it, you got the license. I mean, you got everything is paid for, right? But you refuse to get in it and drive it. Like, that's nuts. And that's who we are. You know, it gets tiring, man, when you see all these things and it's not hard at the end of the day. It's really not hard for us to get out of our own way and stop really talking about A, B, C, and D, and just decide to say, man, I'm going to just put one foot in front of the other and we're going to take a step by step. But the problem with us is that Black folks refuse to be inconvenienced and uncomfortable. We're not going to do those things. If we're inconvenienced and uncomfortable too long, we will always revert back to what oppressed us.
So your show mostly is going to be for the African American community.
No, because I think white folks need to hear. White folks need to hear it too, because they have. I mean, here's the thing. I speak from that perspective because I'm Black and I see the toils of my community, myself. You know, that's what I'm in the most. I mean, we're in Prince George's County. We're in a predominantly Black. You know,
been Black
county.
A long time.
Yeah. And I've been Black my whole life. So, you know, you speak from what you know. And that's the problem with so many people these days is they don't speak from what they know or what they've lived. Rather, they talk on things that they've never experienced or they've never gone through. And so when you listen to those folks speak, a lot of times it's hollow. You know what I'm saying? But if a man has lived this and he's been through it, you can feel and hear his pain, his hurt, his excitement, his triumph. Like your spirit can resonate with that. You know what I'm saying? And that's key. You know, people have to speak from a place of what they've lived, what they've seen, what they've gone through would be much better off. But people speak on things that they feel may garner the attention of others to profit off of it a lot of times instead of, you know, saying authentic truth. And man, everything's done this day and time for shock value, likes, hearts, and money, man.
True that.
I'm excited. I think that, you know, we'll be able to touch some people's lives and people can start to free themselves. I think too many of us live in a certain level of bondage because we're living with the expectations of others, and then how they feel about us. And I remember I was talking with my brother, Tommy Harris, and he said to me, he said, T, when I realized that no man or woman had a heaven or hell to put me in, it started to change my whole perspective about things. Because it doesn't matter what they say or what they think or how they feel. They can't put me in heaven or hell. They don't have that authority or that power. And I think that when we all start to kind of take that approach that, no man or woman has a heaven or hell to put me in. And as long as I'm striving and I'm working toward being a better me, but represent the kingdom of God and my family, and just people in general, the better, I'll be for it than everybody else. Like, everybody gets that turn at that plate of hurt, shame, or ridicule if you live long enough. The thing is, you pray that somebody will understand that their time is too coming, and so extend the right hand of grace to you. And, I think that that's so major, that's so key. And I really want to, express, those kind of sentiments to people. And in this regard, man, this social media stuff is a great tool, but it is probably one of the most dividing tools that has ever been created, man. Yeah. Because at the push of a button, you can literally destroy and decimate somebody's life. I couldn't imagine having this as a young kid, what that could have possibly done to the development of who I am as a man, simply by somebody being rude. I mean, just cruel, and post something that is super embarrassing about you for the world to see. And now you think, right, that everybody in the whole world has seen your mishap or your embarrassing moment, when all the while that kid probably only had 7 followers, but nevertheless, you don't know who it all seen. And so you think everybody's looking at you or everybody knows. And so now you're carrying that on your back. And that's why for so many of our young folks, they're highly depressed, or they're killing themselves daily. Or they're so caught up with the fact that maybe they don't have a very big following or very many likes. So if they post something and only one person likes it, they feel like they're a failure or they're less than. And so, I mean, they're dealing with so much. My daughter's 9, and I remember when she was in kindergarten or first grade, man, they were already dealing with body shaping issues. Man, are you kidding me? As a 6 and 7-year-old kid, you're no, that's nuts. But that's the society that we live in, man.
And I want to publicly thank my friend and brother from another mother, Terrance Jackson, for being a guest on the Kenn Blanchard Show. Time permitting, season right, you shall see or may see Terrance having his own show here on the Blanchard Network. Links to all his stuff of AG365 will be in the show notes. Please check it out. Please buy something. Let your brother know that you heard him here on the show. And as always, I thank you for being a part of my life. If I can help somebody as I travel along, if I can help somebody with a word or song, if I can help somebody from doing wrong, then my living will not be in vain. This is your friend and your brother, the Reverend Kenn Blanchard. And just in case nobody else has told you this today, I love you. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Until the next time, shalom, baby.